Well, hello, internet. Peace. Infinite fire. Burning. This is the Llewellyn Von Helen program. Welcome. Well, all right. On this show, we're going to be getting into the noun. And if you look at the description, you'll see some Chinese. You'll see this word right here in Chinese. Ming Si. Okay.
名词
Ming Si. I pronounced it wrong at first, but it's Ming Si.
名词
This is the main part. In fact, we're gonna go ahead and get those into the clipboard. But anyhow, we're gonna look at what these nouns are. Now, there's something very mystical and spiritual about nouns. Nouns have a lot of power behind them. Give me 1 second. Let's see. So this is where I am here. I'm in the dojo. I'm in the temple in the valley by the river. Surrounded by trees, having a good time. So what we have here is this thing known as the Tao Te Ching. And it's a great piece of literature by an unknown author, but it's attributed to a mythical figure from old Chinese history by the name of Lao Tzu. Um, I want to share something from chapter 1, which says that the way that can be spoken is not the eternal way. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the origin of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of myriad things. Okay? So I felt like this was very important because when we're talking about nouns, we're talking about names. And in this hour, we're going to focus on as many different levels of names as we can focus on. As you heard here in with the Tao Te Ching, it says that the name that can be named is not the eternal name. So ultimately, when we give a noun to something, we're not we're not really we're not really naming that thing, because you can't necessarily name it because of our limited perspective. We don't see eternity. We don't know about um, endless time. We know about things on a timeline. And so, whereas 1,000 years ago, my name may have been Lao Tzu, now my name is Llewellyn Von Helen. And maybe 1,000 years from now, it'll be, who knows? The fact is that anytime you name something, you're stepping outside of eternity. And there are pros and cons to that. The pro of it is, or the main pro of it is that when you step outside of eternity and you name something, you get to work with it now, or you get to work with it for however accurate that name is that you're using. When that name expires, you have to find the new name, or else you'll miss out on the energy that comes along with that. I hope I'm making sense for you guys. So nouns are names. Now, please, uh, please humor me in accepting, well, in forgetting everything you've ever learned about nouns. And I'm going to tell you what I've researched and discovered along my journey about what a noun is. Okay, so a noun, a noun is, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm going to share this with you. I don't know how clear how clear it'll be, but at least I'll attempt to share it with you. Give me one moment. All right, let me share this with you. Or at least let you see where I'm reading from. I'm reading from some code that I wrote a few days ago. Take notes in Python code. Um, I just find that it's a great language to study in, to take notes with. Okay, anyhow. And this is HTML also mixed into this. So Just kind of listen to my voice. Don't really pay attention to what you're seeing on screen. Okay, so a noun is not a person, place, or thing as we've commonly been told. A noun is simply a name. So get it out of your head that it's a person, place, or thing, even though oftentimes that is true. Um, but more than just persons, places, and things, it's just a name. Um, the etymology relates the word noun back to that which is known. And notice that um, the past participle known sounds a lot like noun. And that's because if you know something, if you have known something, then you would have a noun for that thing, if that makes sense. So it's a name. All right. Now there are several different types of names, and there are different categories that you can put these names into. You have abstract names, and so that would be a name for an idea or a concept. So a name for a philosophy could be Taoism. Okay, that's an abstract noun. All right. And then we have, uh, and so really, to be honest, let me go back to abstract. Abstract things are very, well, there's a lot of debate that comes along with it. Some people would debate that certain things are abstract, um, and others would argue that that same thing is not abstract. But we'll get more into that a little later on. Um, but concepts such as beauty is abstract because you can't touch it. It's just an idea, it's a concept, it's something that's not necessarily physical, even though a lot of people think that beauty is a physical attribute. You can't necessarily strictly define it. You could probably try to figure out some kind of symmetrical equation. You might figure out the Fibonacci sequence or some golden ratio that's involved in the creation or in the in the viewing of a face. But overall, we can't just quantify beauty. Okay, it's in the eye of the beholder, it's in the mind, and this is what an abstract noun is. And then you have concrete nouns. Now, concrete nouns are names for physical objects, things that you actually can touch. Okay. Now, a lot of the names, like, well, let me not get into that right now. So, anyhow, a house is a concrete noun. A rock, a crystal, a stone, all of those are concrete nouns. Okay, you can touch them. Um, then we have common nouns. Now, so once you categorize something as abstract or as concrete, then you can further categorize it by determining whether or not it's common or proper. Now, a common noun is not specific and it's not capitalized. All right. Common nouns are nouns such as cat or dog or vegetable. These are just the general names for particular things. I might go to the store and get a bottle. Well, a bottle of what? Well, with a common noun, you don't know. It's not specific. It's just, hey, he's going to get a bottle. All right. Proper nouns, on the contrary, are specific and they're capitalized. Okay. Um, City Atlanta, that's a proper noun. The name Llewellyn is a proper noun. Um, Jesus is a proper noun. Any of these things that specifically identify an individual are what we call proper nouns. Okay, John is a proper noun. John was proud to be from Iowa, which he considered the best place in the United States. So Iowa is a proper noun. United States is a proper noun. John is a proper noun because it pinpoints a particular thing. Now, just to be, just to throw a little mix in there, the United States is a proper noun, but I just have a question for you guys. Is that proper noun based on an abstract noun, or is it based on a concrete noun? I wonder, how you guys will answer that. Well, let's keep going. We have countable nouns. So you can further categorize nouns if they have certain attributes. So a countable noun is a name that um, has a singular and a plural form. So it changes. Um, so we can say dog is singular, dogs is plural. Cat is singular, cats is plural. And so they're countable. Now it's interesting, but in English, if something is countable, you don't necessarily count it specifically. There are only two numbers, so to speak, in English, and those are singular and plural numbers. As far as grammatical numbers, something can either be single or plural. Um, so the word geese, these geese were excited because the boy continued to throw them crumbs. Okay, and goose, the right. So by calling something geese, by saying geese, you're acknowledging that there are more than one goose. Or mice versus mouse. Now those are strong countable nouns because they look a lot. They look very different. Like the internal root of the word is changed. Just kind of keep that in mind. But normally you can tell something's countable by just adding an S and and seeing how that feels. Maybe sometimes you have to check the dictionary. When you don't have a dictionary, of course, you can always make something countable by adding an S to it or taking an S away. But sometimes we can be wrong. That's what I love about English. All right, the next thing we have is the non-countable nouns. The non-countable nouns are names that have only one form. So you'll never know whether you're talking about one or two. Well, I guess you would by context or by the verb, but by the actual noun itself, you don't know if it's more than one or not. For instance, nothing made Chris happier than bad poetry. Poetry is a non-countable noun. If I say, hey, I got some poetry, you don't know if I have one poem, two poems, three poems, or four poems. You have no clue. It could be one, it could be three, it could be any number of poems. Poetry is not countable. You don't say I have poetries. I got poetries. Another one that's common is deer. Look at those deer over there. You don't say look at those deers, okay? Because it's non-countable. Now, why is it non-countable? Why is the word deer non-countable? Well, I guess you have to ask the original um, authors of that aspect of English and ask them what they meant by deer is not being countable. But I think it has something to do with the fact that they move so fast, and when you're hunting, it just seems like it's just gonna be deer for days. So it's pointless to try to count them. Um, anyway, let's continue. We only have an hour for this particular transmission. Collective nouns. Okay, a collective noun is a noun that actually signifies a group. For instance, even though it's more of a noun phrase, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But black people, that's what you would call a collective noun, or people. That's a collective noun. Or let's see, Americans, American. well, Americans with the S would be the collective noun. Um, so basically, if a noun is referring to a group, then it is considered a collective noun. Now, I hope you guys remember this because this stuff is going to come back up in the future and you're going to be wondering what the heck I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you to come back to this video to make sure you have your nouns down pat. All right? Collective nouns, names for groups. Um, the class was happy that the test was postponed. That's a collective noun, class. Okay, because that stands for everybody that's in the class. Um, so without me getting too far along with that, um, and also notice that collective nouns take a singular verb. That's also important to remember. Even though they represent more than one entity, they take a singular verb. Um, Notice it's the class was, not the class were. Okay, singular verb. So we're talking when we talk to the collective, we talk to them as if they're one. So we're talking to black people, we're talking to them as if they're one being. So we amalgamate and bring together all of their attributes and all of their qualities, and we talk to them as if they're one. So that's why sometimes, you may not want to get offended when someone's talking to your collective self, right? Because I can say that y'all have AIDS. I said that y'all are sick. I said that y'all are crazy. You people. I said the class has lacked discipline. I could say black people are suffering. But for those who are intelligent, they know that we're talking about the collective. So that means if any one of us has a certain quality or certain defect, it applies to us all. So remember that one. Collective is a very important category for a noun. And so the next one here is gendered. Gendered. Now, gendered nouns are almost out of style, but I like them. I like them. I think our ancestors did something good when they came up with gendered nouns. Some people hate them. I don't know why. I don't know why people hate gendered nouns, but an example of a gendered noun is waiter. The usual waiter was sick, but the waitress who replaced him was friendly and efficient. Okay, so a waiter versus a waitress. I know a lot of people say that the word actress is dead, and we now call the actresses actors. I'm with the old. I'm with the old modern English gang. I prefer to call them actresses. Because I see it. I just I think it's something healthy about identifying with your own gender, and being able to identify others. I think it's wonderful to be able to identify others by their gender, um, because I'll tell you like this: difference between a man and a woman, that's significant to me. You know, um, not all women are the same, not all men are the same, but sometimes I just want to know: am I going to be around a woman? Or am I going to be around a man? If I'm going to be around all men, maybe I'll be lax. Maybe I'll be uh, I won't care. If I'm going to be around a woman, I'll probably be, a little more uptight. I'll be a lot more crisp, a lot more sharp, a lot sharper, or crisper. You see, I make grammatical errors too, and just like everybody else, I'm human. But yeah, um, I really appreciate the ability to, you know, speak to a person's actual gender. Um, and probably for the rest of the uh, transmissions that I do here on YouTube, I will envision myself speaking to a woman. Why? Because if I'm talking to a woman, I'll be more focused. I'll be more masculine. And that's the type of yin energy that I like to bring uh, into the world here. So I have to kind of imagine that I'm talking to women. uh, and I just thought of how sometimes in the military, um, you'll be called ladies. Let's say, "All right, ladies, get on up." Sergeant might say, "How you doing, ladies? Get on up," or whatever. And the reason being is because I think when you're speaking to women, it's easier to be more focused, at least in my opinion. And I think that might be the truth for other guys, but yeah, we're focused when we're talking to women. When we're talking to guys, sometimes we get distracted. We might be in the middle of a conversation with a guy, and a beautiful woman walks by, and the conversation will come to a straight halt, and we'll watch her walk by, and then after she's completely out of sight, then we may resume the conversation. But women cause me to focus, and I think that's true for a lot of men. Maybe I'm focusing on the wrong thing, but the point is that it's focused, and we can redirect that. Let's continue. We're about halfway through this transmission. We have these things called appositive nouns. I want to introduce you to the appositive noun. All right. The appositive noun. Now, appositive nouns is probably unheard of to the average person, unless you're some sort of English major or just some kind of real geek. No offense, but appositive nouns are actually pretty powerful and cause a lot of controversy. Um, but it's a name or a noun phrase that explains the noun that precedes it. What do I mean by that? Okay, my father, which is the noun phrase. The king has declared the rules. My father, the king, has declared the rules. So it doesn't say my father is the king. Okay, it says my father, the king. So the king is actually an appositive noun. It's a noun that explains the noun that precedes it. So my father is a king by the way that grammatical structure has been constructed. My dog, the grouch, hated to be petted. Okay, you can call me Llewellyn the Great or Llewellyn the Grammarian. Um, and that would be an example of an appositive noun. I can call you guys YouTube. Well, I call you the viewer YouTube viewers, the excellent ones. My viewers, the excellent ones. Right? It's a positive noun. So it's just a noun or a noun phrase that explains the noun that precedes it. Ronald McDonald the clown. Batman the vigilante. Do you follow me? It's called an appositive noun. Okay? And now for our next one, it's called the gerund. The gerund noun. Um, I used to pronounce this gerund, but I believe I was incorrect in my pronunciation there. But it's gerund. I think it's German. I think this is a German, a word that has its origin in German. But we're not about etymology right now. We're just trying to handle nouns. Mingxie, right? That's what we said in the beginning. That's what that little Chinese is that you saw in the title. Mingxie, nouns. Um, but a gerund noun is a noun that's formed based on the verb, or is formed based on a verb. plus ing. Okay, based on a verb plus ing. Now, a lot of times I don't like to define things based on just telling you how to create it, but gerund verbs are kind of like that. You have to, you kind of have to um, just tell people how it is, and then maybe they'll understand it. But ultimately, what it is, it's just a verb that's been transformed into a noun. Uh, Here we are. So, gerund noun is a noun formed from uh, a noun based on a verb plus ing. All right. Um, so we can take the verb walk and add ing, and then we can say we're going to take a walking. We're going to do a walking. It's kind of a bad example, but it still holds. Let me think of another example. Um, Dancing. I love dancing. Okay, dancing is a noun. Some people would mistake that as a verb. Now, when I start administering these tests, I'm gonna tell you, look, go back to the video and notice the difference between gerund nouns and um, and gerund verbs, right? Because they can be tricky, but not when you understand the subject, verb, object order of language. We haven't really gotten of English, but we haven't really gotten into that yet. But I'm kind of introducing it to you right now. Um, and nouns can be either subjects or objects. Just so you guys know, I love dancing. Dancing is a noun, and it's a name for a thing. It's called dancing. Um, a noun phrase would be maybe making videos. I love making videos. So that's the name of what I'm doing, making videos. Okay, that's a gerund noun plus an object, making videos. Anyhow, I think people will love gerund nouns. For instance, living. Living is not easy for vermin, right? Living is a noun. It's not a verb in this sense. Okay, living is the name of what it is. It's that is not easy for vermin in this particular sentence. So anyhow, I think y'all get that. Jaren, let me know if you don't understand something by commenting, or I'm not in the chat room right now, but maybe I'll check it before I leave. We got about 20 more minutes. Okay, so the next aspect of nouns is infinitive noun. We have the infinitive noun. And an infinitive noun is the preposition to plus a verb. So now we got verbs transforming into nouns again, but this time we're not using the ing, we're using the preposition to. Okay. Um, so to vote is the best way to affect social change. To vote, that compound word there, to vote, is actually a noun. See, a lot of you people are going to get this wrong when I implement the test. The test is going to be online. It's going to be it's going to be straightforward. Go online. You know, I might let you take it without even giving me your email address, but I'll probably ask for your email address. just so I can, keep, people who are not really trying to gain knowledge and wisdom out. But basically, ask your email address. You take your test, and everything will be, all your scores and things will be stored uh, according to your email address. So if you get some Fs, you might want to get a new email address, retake the test. But this one, I think a lot of people won't get it. I'm gonna try to make it pretty intuitive though, because I want you to understand this. I don't want you to feel like it's difficult, like it's too much. So yeah, I want you to be able to take this in. But to vote is the name of that which is the best way to affect social change in this particular sentence. And to be is the name of that which is compared to not to be. To be or not to be. That is the question. Now, that's some Shakespeare, and I'm not gonna lie. He didn't speak perfect English. He did not speak perfect English. He did not write perfect English. And most people do not speak perfect English. Most people do not write perfect English. And in many ways, perfect English does not exist. The point is for you to understand the basic rules and then maybe creatively, gracefully break them, but break them with the knowledge that you're actually breaking them so people will be able to understand what it is that you're saying. And when I say understand, I mean really thoroughly understand without doubts. That's the whole point. Um, and so with those, I think what was that, 10 or 11? With those 11 uh, divisions, that's nouns. So the good thing about writing things in code is that you can always present it. You can always present it. You can always present it in various ways. Like same code here is what I'm going to be using test you guys to make sure you have everything down packed. So enter a wish, nouns, enter a wish for me. I don't even know what the heck it, I don't even know what the heck is that. Noun, okay, a name. Okay, gerund. Noun form based on a verb plus ing. Got that. Infinitive. A noun formed to plus a verb. Okay, got that. Abstract. Of an idea or concept. So abstract nouns are nouns that represent ideas or concepts. Uh, Appositive is a name or phrase that explains the noun that precedes it. Okay, y'all got that. Gendered. That's a name for a form that depends on gender. Okay. Proper. Specific capitalized name. Collective. A name for a group of things predicated as one thing. Okay. Where do I get these words from? Predicated. Subject predicate. Uh, Maybe we'll get into that a little later. Countable. Okay. Um, that's a name with singular and plural form. Concrete. Um, that is the name of a physical object. Common. That is a non-specific, non-capitalized name. Non-countable. That's a name with but one form. Wish granted. I will not fulfill the wish known as noun. I don't see. It's crazy when you write code and you forget what you wrote, and I don't have any idea. I do not remember writing that. Anyhow, I'm going to show you guys that I do remember these definitions. I don't need these cue cards. And this is for me, but it's also for you guys to know that I'm pressing you to learn this um, because I think it's valuable. Um, and hopefully you'll see it as valuable too. But I'm not just creating this stuff and then throwing it out the back door. Okay? I'm actually using it as much as I can. So, what is a gerund noun? A gerund noun is a noun that is formed by adding ing to a verb. Um, so it's a noun that's formed by adding ing to a verb. Let's see if I'm right. Right. Noun formed based on adding ing. Living uh, is not easy for vermin. So now this has just come up in my mind. Whenever you're attempting to categorize words, the context is very important because the context in itself can change the meaning or the usage. So normally living would be a verb, and we hadn't even gotten into verbs yet, so don't heckle me about that right now. Verbs will be uh, not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow. Um, I might do it a little earlier than that, but more than likely it's going to be about Thursday before I get to verbs. But nouns are nouns basically uh, form the subject of sentences. So the context will tell you what the noun is if you are understanding the context. Because if I just asked you, well, what type of word is living? I said, hey, what type of word is living? And I just pulled it, I abstracted it away. What type of word is living? Uh, you would be correct to say that it's a verb. See, because there's no context to tell you anything else. So on the surface, it is a verb. But if I present a sentence to you, I say, living is not easy for vermin. And I say, from that sentence, tell me what part of speech is the word living. Then if you say anything other than noun, then I know you have not thoroughly understood this lesson. Okay? So I'm going to keep that in mind on the test. All right? Infinitive. An infinitive noun is a noun that's formed by the preposition to and the raw verb. Um, right, to plus verb. To vote, to be, to think, to love, to move on to the next thing, to move. Abstract. An abstract noun is a noun that names it. Well, it names an idea or concept. Right. Of an idea or concept. Uh, love is in the heart of the beloved. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Concepts of beauty can change. There's some people in Africa, they think it's beautiful to cut a hole in your bottom lip and put a plate in it. See? Most people in America do not believe that that is beautiful. And I don't. beautiful in its own way. This is my opinion. I think it's I think it's ugly. Anytime you damage your body for the sake of beauty, I don't know. I start to think that it's ugly. Now, if it was just an injury, um, then maybe. But we're not really here to express my own personal views and opinions. Just trying to make sure you get the idea about what abstraction is, what an abstract noun is. It's the name of something that cannot be touched, something that's intangible, something that's of the mind, something that's invisible, so to speak, something that can't just be quantified. Like I look at this woman and say, hey, you got 1,000,000 units worth of beauty on your face. You have 1,000,000 units worth of beauty on your face. Hmm, where do they do that? Anyhow, let's move on to the next thing. Um, appositive. Now, an appositive is a noun or noun phrase that explains the noun that directly precedes it. Okay. Name or noun phrase that explains the noun that directly precedes it. Okay. My father, the king. My viewers, the wonderful ones. Um, Llewellyn, the grammarian. Um, Nouns, the basis of all speech. Okay. You don't need a verb for these descriptions here. You don't need the linking verb is or all of that. My father is the king. No, my father the king, and all that together uh, serves as a very thorough subject. Okay, gendered, right? A gendered noun is a noun that indicates the gender of the bearer of the noun. Now, my definition is probably off from the standard one, but what does it say? A name for a form that depends on gender. Okay, I think I get credit for that. And also on the test, guys, I'm gonna do my I'm not gonna ask many essay questions of you. I think if you went to a university or some college or something like that, then you would probably be expected to answer things um, in essay form, or you might be expected to answer things with full sentences. I'm not going to do that originally. I'm going to save that for the next the next section beyond parts of speech where we're dealing with sentences and sentence structure, where we'll get into phrases, clauses, modifiers, and predicates, subjects, um, and whatnot. Uh, so yes, for now though, we're trying to deal with these individual units as much as we can. We're trying to find a way, trying to understand how to break down our speech into individual units to analyze it, so that when we finally implement it and use it, we'll be as precise as we can be. Um, right? Because I'll tell you like this, and this is my honest opinion. Before we move on, we're all gonna die one day, right? And what's gonna be left behind? What's gonna be left behind? Our words. Some of us don't write them down. Some of us only tell our words to other people. And so our words will be left behind in the minds of other people who heard our words. And if we were very reckless with our speech, then we'll leave behind reckless memories. See, even from the grave, we can be disturbing people's peace. So this is another reason why I believe we should all hunker down on grammar. All right, proper. A proper noun is a noun that is capitalized, and it's a specific name of an entity. So specific capitalized name. All right, collective. well, going into proper nouns. Proper nouns, okay. Like we started this off, the name that can be named is not the eternal name. Okay. Some of you may say, this guy is talking to me. His real name is not Llewellyn von Helen. And I submit to you that, you know, philosophically, it actually is. It's my proper name. Why? Because it's specific and it's capitalized. Now that's grammatical. That's grammatical. It's not. It may not be legal, but it's grammatical. Um, and just on that note, I want to let you guys know that uh, when I'm on YouTube, I'm channeling a character. Okay, I'm not necessarily being myself. I'm actually channeling a character. Now, you may not have taken any theater classes, but if you have, you know what it is I'm talking about. I'm just, it's like a method acting, a form of method acting. I am Llewellyn von Helen. Who is Llewellyn von Helen? It is a character on YouTube. It's a personality on YouTube that's just out of his mind when it comes to this grammar stuff. When it comes to this art, this art thing. Okay, this art thing, and what I believe, which is in alignment with my quote unquote true self, is that grammar is the basis of all art in the first place. But we haven't even had breakfast yet, so we're not going to continue on with that. Collective. A collective noun is a noun that refers to a group of people, and it's predicated, well, it's treated like it's singular. A name for a group of people predicated as one thing. Yes, 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 I got that. Countable. A noun that is has both a singular and plural form. A name with singular and plural form. There we go. Got that. Concrete noun. A concrete noun is a noun that uh, that well, it's a name for a physical object, something that's actually tangible. You know, you got 1,000 bricks. Bricks are actually tangible. Would you like to feel this brick on your head? Okay. No, no, no. Stop the violence, please. Okay. That this is 2016. We should be evolved, you know, unless evolution is just wrong. Another note. Common. A common noun is an unspecific, uncapitalized name for a thing. A man, woman, girl, child. All of those are common nouns. Every once in a while, you run into a person who has a common noun that is a proper noun. Like I've met a man whose actual first name is Man. Man, capital Man. How are you doing, man? That's his name. That's his name. I haven't met a woman whose first name is Woman though. Now that would be deep. You know, we don't necessarily in our culture we don't care about men as much nowadays. You know, um, we care about our women. So God forbid we name a woman woman. That shows that we didn't have much creativity when we were naming them. I know there are people out there who have met uh, dog owners who name their dog dog. That's when you're from the country. You name your dog dog. Hey dog, get out here. Get over here. Get over here, dog. All right. So there are exceptions to the rules. You know what I'm saying? You can't always tell just by audio, but you can definitely tell by what's written. Person writes something down, you can tell a whole lot. Um, when they write it, you can tell if they're right. All right, I was correct on that. Non-countable. That's a noun that has no differentiation in form when it comes to its number. You don't know how many it is by the word itself. You have to use context clues. Maybe article, determiner or something like that, or quantifier. These deer, that deer, the deer, 100 deer, 200 deer, 300. Yeah, anyhow, non-countable. And you know what? That's it. We just wanted to do nouns tonight. And we're approaching the end of this hour. So real quickly, I'm gonna check the chat room, see if anybody is there to ask a question, and then we're gonna get out of here. Uh, I might elaborate just a little bit more. I don't really like to stay off schedule. I mean, I don't like to divert from the plan, but for you guys, I will every once in a while. Right, so let's see. Where is, how do I get to this chat room? I'm on my way to the chat room trying to find the chat room. Well, let's have a real big, okay, watch page. Let's have a real big round of applause for whoever it is and whoever it is. Okay, we have 2 likes. That's a good thing. But then again, you know, you be excited about likes. Things are what they are. Wait a minute, is this a chat here? Say something. I'm gonna say something. Good thing. Let me mute this. But then again, you know, you be excited about likes. All right, so I'm in the chat room. I've said hello, and I noticed that no one else is speaking right now. But drop a noun or 2. I've got about 4 more minutes. If you're here, drop me a noun or 2. Drop me a noun. Give me a noun. Show me that you have been paying attention. Ask a question. All right. You might help somebody in the future. Again, this recording is for those in the future. I don't know if I said that, but I'm going to say it now. This recording is for the future. It's for me. It's for people in the future who want to have absolute clarity on what a noun is. A noun is a name, baby. A name. Okay, that's just it. It's what something is known as. A noun is just what something is known as. Okay, and they're really, really powerful. Like it says in the Tao Te Ching, it says, "The named is the mother of myriad things." So when a thing has a name, then it can become a mother, and I believe that what that actually means is that things that have names are the things that can create. You see, somebody might say, well, where are you from? Well, if you don't have a noun, you can't really be from anywhere. You see, noun is identity marker. It's a thing that, really, it's a lot of deep meaning behind it. I'm doing my best to target this towards, everyone, trying not to use any vulgar language, even though a lot of the youth are just so used to that right now. Even though really this video is not even targeted at the youth. It's really targeted at adults. I want to target the adults. I believe that if the adults begin to embrace this, then they will actually be able to greatly uplift the youth, and the youth, will be able to look to them, and they'll model themselves after what they see the adults doing. Um, they all like to rebel, but when something works, it just works. Okay, understanding nouns thoroughly is a very, very valuable skill. It translates to a lot of other things. Uh, I'd argue that you could be fluent in a language if you only knew nouns. Okay, 名词, 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 nouns. See, you could point at something and then say the noun. Phone, and depending on who you're talking to, they might understand what you mean. Give me the phone. Let me see the phone. You're on the phone. You see, it's called context clues. I know a lot of you have heard about body language being very important, about 80 or 90% of communication. It's true to a certain extent. You can take a noun and then you can have some body language and you can really have good conversation. Nouns, okay? House, home, home. You might point at something. Home. I want to go home. Um, food. Food. Give me food. You don't even need to give me just the noun. It's the subject. Okay, the subject. Now, before I go, I will mention a couple of concepts that I didn't thoroughly get into, but this really relates to nouns. So, for all you that have to leave, go ahead and leave now. Okay, it's an hour long, but we're gonna go a little bit over tonight. Um, Noun phrase. If you get this wrong on the test, I'll take a half a point off. Noun phrase is a collection of words that fully name uh, a thing. For instance, the happy camper. That's a noun phrase, and subjects subjects consist of either nouns or noun phrases, or either a noun or a noun phrase. In a compound sentence, or you can have a compound subject, um, but ultimately, like I said, a noun or noun phrase is what formulates the subject. If it's a compound subject, then you have, two. You have, maybe a noun and a noun phrase. Okay, like the dog and the hordes of angry people. It's a subject. The hordes of angry people. That's a noun phrase. The dog. That's a noun, or dog is a noun. Technically, the dog is a noun phrase because the is an article. Now in Chinese, and we're going to get back to Chinese, but in Chinese, there are not necessarily there we don't they don't use articles as much as we use articles in English. They have articles, they use articles, but they're not required to form a proper sentence. Like you can literally say something like 我去机场 or 我去饭馆. Okay, 我去教. I gotta work on my Chinese, but I think that if you speak Chinese, you know exactly what the heck I just said. But 我去, I go, um, 办公室, or I go home, I go bank, I go restaurant, I go, you know, it's just basically I go place. It's not I go to the place. See, there's a lot of times they're not even prepositions. It's just subject, verb, object. But keep that in mind. And the reason I explain this again about Chinese is because if you are an English speaker, you know, it may be somewhat beneath you to learn grammar. You may, most people believe that they have it mastered. And so I introduce it with Chinese so that you can't say that you have it mastered, because how many of you Americans know how to speak Chinese, huh? How many of you Americans know how to speak Chinese? So yeah, you listen to this in order to really understand the concept, and it's providing a sort of contrast to English when we look at Chinese, and that contrast will uh, give the effect of illuminating what a noun is in our minds. You see, because you could really take this with you to any other language that you're going to learn. Yes, Arabic has nouns. Hebrew has nouns. French has nouns. Every language that I've ever heard of has nouns. Okay. Um, some of the other parts of speech we're going to get into might not be found in every language, and they might not be, or they might not be used in the same way. But essentially, that is what it is. This has been Wellen Von program. You have just been programmed on what a noun is. You will never forget it. Never forget it. Remember this for the rest of your life, what a noun is, baby. You got the infinitive ones, you got the gerund ones, you got the collective ones, you got the common ones, you got the proper ones. You see what I'm saying? And this is just the beginning. So I ain't got nothing but love for all of you guys, all of you people, all of you gals. Collectively, you're a beautiful woman to me, and I'm gonna treat you right. We got your positive nouns, we got your non-countable nouns. So I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful evening. We're gonna go ahead and bring this to a close. Tune in tomorrow at a certain time. I don't quite know exactly what time it's gonna be, but tune in and we're gonna discuss pronouns.